What's going on? What the hell? This isn't Friday. Phone my agent.
You have reached the Magician's Assistant. If this is the Enlightened one, today's episode is... Tales from the Freaky Shit Files.
I am pissed off. I was having a nice dream about a nice lady in white one.
Wait, did he say he was dreaming about a lady?
He was dreaming about a lady in Lighten One.
Interesting.
He was having some sexy dreams.
I can't think of it worse. I mean, we got the Enlightened one. Do we really want a female Enlightened one?
I don't know. Like, obviously he had a mom.
Well, yes, of course. Going on new, as always, stopping by. Yeah, it feels really weird. I don't know why, but just for some bizarre reason, it just feels very, very weird. I can't figure
Well, yeah,
out why.
doing a show on a Thursday, it's not as Freaky Friday. You know how it is.
Of course.
How was your week so far?
It's been a busy one, obviously. The heat's been absolutely killing me. I made an appearance on Work the Left Side yesterday, which was fun. And obviously, of course, today we're doing a podcast on a Thursday because, as always, things always happen and we're both busy tomorrow.
Well, let me introduce myself. I am the patron saint of all of professional wrestling. I'm that gingered up paranormal son of a bitch. I'm Canada Dry, damn it.
Woo! And he's always bigging himself up. I absolutely love it. And I am, of course, the Magician. And this is the only paranormal show made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans. And why you ended up over there?
Yeah.
There you go. Dear. Yeah, I mean, it just feels really, really weird. But you know what? We're going to be absolute professionals and we're just going to have a good time, as always.
And what do we got on the show today?
Of course. So, we've got some good things in the vault. We've got some storage which we've actually found, obviously on the internet. We'll discuss that later on. We're going to travel around the effing galaxy, and I will be honest, I've not got nothing for the Magician's Corner. Well,
that's why I added another video into the vault, because we're gonna need some extra filling time. So the theme of this episode is Tales from the Freaky Shit Files.
So, just explain what we mean by that. Is we've actually searched the internet high and low, and we found some stories.
We put it in our files, and we said, "Damn, these are freaky shit."
And I will be warned, some of these are really, really a bit surprising. I'll just say surprising, and you'll explain later.
So I think that we should figure out what the password is. We should open up the vault.
It looks like it's time to open up the vault.
Do you know the combination? I wonder if the people actually watching knows the password.
Yeah. Who knows? If you're watching, tell us what the password is. I won't make you say it this time, Liam, because I know you know it. I know you know it.
I've said it every single week, so I'll be really, really pissed off at myself if I didn't.
I want to buy some of it, though. I want to try some of that stuff. Maybe have a drink later.
Of course. So, yep, as we always say, this is the part of the show where we take a deep dive into our vault. There could be absolutely anything in there. There could be smelly socks. There could be... Who knows? I mean, but... Does anybody actually know it?
All right, let me just take
Boom. He knows it.
Let's go. Let me just take a look. Oh, what? It's gooey. It's wet. But okay, here's the video, though. Here we go.
Okay, what we got here?
Oh, all right. So you can see that something is coming down from the sky like lightning. It puts out all the power.
What the hell? Is that like a red beam?
Yeah.
That is what the hell?
So we're playing it again.
Okay, is it? So just like it's like a lightning. It's not like lightning either, is it?
And if
That
you,
is.
So if you look, there's 3 little lights up here that are causing this at the beginning of the video.
Right. Okay, that's well spotted.
So they're the ones shooting it down, like some sort of weapon on the Earth, possibly.
What the hell? It honestly, God, it's surprising because it just knocks the lights all out. Do we know any background to this video or?
This was just posted on Reddit, and we have no idea where it comes from. It's been all over the internet, and we don't know much about it.
And there's no explanation. What? I honestly don't know. I mean, it just looks so
There's a lot
weird.
of sound effects going on, but I took them out so we could actually talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think on this one?
It could easily be a hoax,
Oh yeah.
but it's interesting, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely it is. But yeah, that is a weird one. It's puzzling me. I'll be honest.
It's got the red, the big flash, like it's like electric, and then it goes red again.
And obviously, as you saw in the video there, it literally knocks the lights out. So that is a very, very surprising one. What have we got next?
All right, so I think we got a ghost one here. Here we go. There we go.
Boop.
All right, so right here we got a dad playing with his child. In the background, there's a mirror, and a ghost appears in the mirror. It's called the Hatted Man. Can't really see it right now, so we're going to zoom in a little bit more in a second.
What? Whoa.
You can see something there, right?
Yeah, you do. But
all right, now we'll see it better.
You see,
it's called the Hatted Man.
Now,
there we go. There we can really see it now.
Yep, you can see the old-fashioned hat there as well. Do you see that?
Yeah, and so it's said that the Hatted Man shows up at really times when something is about to go down.
Does it say good or bad, or does it just show down?
When something is about stressful or very, very ominous, something goes down, and he's there.
That is really good. I just want to ask you one question, though. If you didn't see that red circle, would you have guessed where that actual thing was?
No, I wouldn't have picked up on it, but I guess the family saw it as they were watching their kid, the video of them, dad playing with the son, and then like, what is that?
Yeah, then you watch it again, you're like, oh, but yeah, if you watch the thing carefully, you can obviously see the hat, you can see all it's old-fashioned hat. I definitely saw that straight away, and
he just slowly walks into frame and walks out of frame.
It would have been funny if it walked by going, hi! Oh, dear. Anything else we got in this week?
Yes, we have one more that I want to show you guys. This one's interesting.
Boop.
So this man sees some kids and he hands them a balloon. He's a security guard at the hospital. He was trying to be a nice security guy. He was getting the balloons. But apparently the kids were not there. And the balloons followed him down the hallway.
What? Yeah, them balloons are really acting like out of... I nearly said out of shape then, but that's probably the wrong terminology. But it's just the way they actually follow him. You see that? So
you see him talking to the kids. Then you see him, and he hands them the balloons, and then they follow him.
But yet there's no kids there.
Yeah, so the security guard tells a story how he saw some kids and they just looked so cute, and he had some balloons that he was going to give to someone, and he's like, I want to give them to you. So
Yeah, I mean,
and they weren't there.
we've seen this. How many times have we obviously seen this? Where on cameras where it's like this person's talking to somebody, but yet there's nobody there.
So
It makes you wonder with cameras. It's like, are they really not as good as you think?
well, like when we have cameras, we have cameras everywhere now. It's we use the term surveillance society,
Mm-hmm.
where you can pick up images of you didn't know that you were even being recorded. And so when you see stuff like this, you can pick up on the paranormal things more than ever before.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, obviously, with the world now, and you might agree with this, and obviously your country as well, is there's so many cameras now throughout the whole country. You cannot. People always say you're never too far away from a camera.
Yeah, you could just be crossing the street, something goes down, and they're able to pick it up.
Which is absolutely just creepy when you think about it. I mean, obviously the UK is obviously one of the top, for having the most cameras. So I don't know what's the camera situation he has. Have you all got plenty?
It's very similar, but not as much as the UK. Like UK is the leading brand in camera surveillance.
Do you know what that says to me? We don't trust people in the UK. Dear. Yeah, they're pretty interesting ones, especially the balloon one.
I thought the hatted man was kind of creepy.
Yeah, I think they're all just as good though. But yeah, I mean, wow. But people listening, obviously, if you've got any videos, send them in. We'll obviously, react to them.
Oh, for sure. We'll put them in our vault and we'll pull them out one day.
Of course. So, have we got anything in the vault this week or anything else? Or
nope, that is it. Which makes me wonder if I should find my keys to the airplane, put them in the ignition, and go all the way around the effing galaxy.
And we're
Captain, how's the flying going?
Yeah, there's a little bit of turbulence. I seen some UFOs earlier. They're just like, it's like I'm trying to fly the plane. The UFOs are everywhere. They're like messing with me. They want to know if I got some spare peanuts. I'm like, no, but they're in the back. And they're like, well, how do we get aboard? I'm like, meet me at the airport. I'll give you some peanuts.
I have to wonder if there's red lights up there in the air. That would be actually funny. Just a red light, just a plane just stopping like that.
Like, yes, I'd like some peanuts, please. Of course, our flight attendant, Joseph Graham, will be around to give you some peanuts later.
Of course. So
I said penis later, and you said, of course.
It's not. I'm not with it. All right. Okay, I'm not with it. But anyway, go ahead.
All right. What do we have in the news today?
So, Aussie Open obviously officially now signs with AEW, which begs one question: will Ospreay he follow? So, is there a special graphic they've got, which is obviously Kyle Fletcher and Martin Davis? I'm a big fan of obviously Kyle Fletcher in particular. I feel like he's absolutely phenomenal. But what's your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I was super impressed with his match with Orange Cassidy yesterday. Like we were joking how it reminds us of WCW 3 count. But Mark Davis, he had knee surgery, and guess who paid for it even before he was even signed?
I didn't know this until you just mentioned this to me, but it's Tony Khan.
Tony Khan pays for his surgery.
And bearing in mind, they wasn't officially signed to the roster.
No, just out of the kindness of his heart. And like, how could you not sign with the guy after that?
Yeah, and it just goes to show. I mean, we've always going to be higher praise on Tony Khan, how well he's done, and it just goes to show how kind-hearted he is to obviously pay for somebody's surgery. Yes, there obviously will be a signing eventually, but it still wasn't at the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and so I can see Will Ospreay signing with AEW But he's a little nervous about coming to North America.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Will Ospreay's obviously big in the UK. He's doing a lot of obviously stuff around there. I still think the problem is Will does so much for New Japan as well. So it's more, does he really want to test himself in AEW? Remains to be seen. I didn't know about the North American part, which obviously you just mentioned there, but never say never. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
well, you could easily have him be one of the top guys instantly.
oh yes, imagine the draw he would actually bring. I mean,
so many guys you can go with, right?
Definitely. I mean, Kenny Omega's obviously the prime example. Brian Danielson, that's just two. John Moxley, I mean, you could literally go through the entire roster, even like Sammy Guevara as an example. Do you know what I mean? Just something simple like that.
I would like to see some Sammy and Will Ospreay matches. Like, why not? Or Will Ospreay and Ray Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, look at the high flyers in AEW. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Bandito, that's another one.
Yeah.
I could think of loads, to be quite honest with you. Do you know what I mean? But
all right, what else we got?
So Willow wins the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Championship after Mercedes breaks her ankle. Fans blaming Willow. I was a bit surprised with this. Obviously, I saw that she was part of the actual thing, and I obviously wanted Mercedes to win. But yeah, I mean, injuries happen, but it didn't look really good.
Here's the thing: it's fans obviously did who are blaming Willow. Obviously, did not watch the match because Willow wasn't even near her when she broke her ankle.
Yeah, but
we know one of those freak things that she's on the top ropes and she hurts herself.
Yeah, but us as fans, obviously doing podcasting, we know that what the fan base can be like. So when something goes wrong, they seem to point the blame at some people. And I'm not obviously referring to just every fan. I'm talking about like a select few.
And like this was such a for Willow, this is such a huge moment in her career. Like she wasn't supposed to win, but you know, sucks to win it this way. But you know, sometimes you need a lucky break.
Yeah, and I think it'll do her obviously well. Do you know, going to obviously New Japan as well, because I mean, me and Mr. Isaacs spoke about it obviously on Magic of Wrestling. I mean, Stardom obviously has got some great talent there, so it'd be great to see work with some of those.
Yeah. What else we got? Let's move along.
Okay, so this is obviously an article we found earlier, which was during this week's Fightful AEW Dynamite recap show, Sam hinted that their winds of change are coming to as AEW's women's division will look categorically different after Double or Nothing. Jamie is hurt. She is hurt. I'm thinking this division looks categorically different in 5 days. I see the winds of change coming here, and I think we're in for some major changes in the division. We've obviously been very critical, obviously, over the past couple of months when it comes to the women's, but major changes. What do we see happening?
Well, Jamie's hurt. Like she's hurt. She can't defend that. Maybe she's going to do a match and defend the belt and just put someone over. I don't know. Or is she not going to be able to make it? And maybe they put Britt Baker in there and Britt wins the belt.
Possibly. I mean, Noob says Jamie Hayter's definitely out. So the thing is, if she drops the title, who do we see it being? I don't see it being Britt because I feel like she doesn't need that title at the moment, personally.
Well, here's the thing. You got to look long-term storytelling. You got Saraya probably winning that belt at All In.
Mm-hmm.
And you need somebody to carry it until then.
Yeah, I mean...
And who better than Britt?
Yeah, I mean, when you put it that way, you have actually got a point. I mean...
Britt losing to a Britt in Britt.
I love that one. That's what you've heard that here first. A Brit losing to a Brit in Brit. Noob says summer is always the time for wrestling injuries. That is kind of true. Let's be honest. We see obviously a lot of injuries, but
you think it'll be more in winter with people slipping on the ice?
You should know that one.
Yes, I do.
Oh dear. We'll move along. Is Seth is now a Marvel star? I kind of like this because I feel like even though he can be annoying in wrestling, I feel like he will be a good actor in a sense.
He plays a really good dick. And I don't mean
Well,
Dick Grayson. I mean a villain.
well, I mean, I don't even know what to say to that one. Let's be honest.
Yeah, like like he comes off when he's a bad guy in wrestling, a heel. He comes off really natural at it.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how this obviously comes about because we see it all the time now. Obviously, wrestlers going into acting. I mean, you could go through a whole list. I mean, your prime examples: Rock, Cena, The Miz. That's another one. There's so many going into acting. So, is Seth going to be good? Are people going to be critical? We don't know. It remains to be seen. But I'm kind of curious to see how this obviously plays out.
Oh, for sure. Um, I'm not a Marvel guy. I'm a DC guy, so I probably won't watch it.
I'm actually a Marvel guy, so that's why I'm kind of really interested in this one.
Yeah, I watched Shazam. I wasn't impressed with it. The Shazam Part 2. Wasn't impressed with the Shazam Part 2. It was.
Noob says, speaking of women's title, I know that Canada Dry is excited about that Natalia Markova taking on Camille for the NWA title at the Crockett Cup next weekend.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for a second. Yeah, Natalia deserves even if she doesn't win. And I'm not getting my hopes up because she's not signed to NWA, so I feel like they could trust her even though she's not signed to hold that belt. Because Billy and her are friends. So, but I still like that she's getting the main event spotlight for the women.
Yeah, the problem I've got is with this is like obviously we saw the title match announced, but then for some reason it kind of got moved just to a non-title match. I don't get it. It kind of like I'm so confused with it, but
right. So they should have kept it a title match, and then it's like, well, I almost beat you, so now I should get another title match.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But it's NWA. I mean, I don't follow the product as much as I like, so you probably know more about NWA than me.
I only follow it honestly for Natalia Markova, Brian Idol, and now Daisy Kill.
Yeah, I mean, Daisy Kill, did you just say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that sings the song.
I didn't even know his name. He just played the video.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. And so that's at the Crockett Cup next weekend?
Yes, I do believe.
Okay, and the last thing I've got here is Triple Mania.
Yeah, the main event of the Saudi Arabia show here.
Okay, which is
triple. I don't really like the triple main events. Like it just kind of cheesy, but WWE does stuff like that. So you got Cody and Brock.
Yep.
You got the Bloodline versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And then you got AJ Styles and Seth Rollins.
Now, out of all them three matches, which would you say deserves to be the main?
Well, got to be the world title match, and I could see it being a double main with Cody and Brock, but throwing in the whoop just because it's Roman Reigns, like now it's elevated.
Dear. Noob says Backlash got a double main event. Yeah, I don't kind of like these like double main event things. It kind of
I don't like it at all either. So let's just make a little prediction here. Cody versus Brock, who wins?
Cody.
Even though he got that injury just before, you still think he still wins?
Yeah, I still think it's Cody. I mean, I think he's going to get all the pay-per-view wins, but I still don't see him winning a title. I will be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cody as well. Roman Reigns versus Sami and Owens.
I hope it's Sami Zayn and obviously Owens, but for some reason, knowing WWE like we do, it's got to be the fucking Bloodline.
Well, for the next pay-per-view, it's going to be Owens versus Bloodline versus the Usos. So obviously they're going to put the tag title on the Bloodline.
Yeah, which is kind of stupid. I feel like the one thing I really hate about WWE is the tag division. there's just no tag division whatsoever. I feel like
Yeah.
at the minute, I feel like they don't take the tag division seriously. That's including obviously the women's tag as well.
All right, Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles.
Part of me wants to say Seth, but I wouldn't be surprised if AJ nicks one.
So you're picking AJ?
I'm gonna throw a curveball. I'm gonna say AJ Styles.
The way they're talking to Seth Rollins every single Raw now, doing this little spotlight. They're trying to build him up and make him not so douchey. They're totally putting the belt on him.
Yeah, so obviously that's Night of Champions. Is that on the Saturday or the Sunday?
That is on Saturday.
That is on Saturday. So looking forward to that. And yeah, that wraps up the
One more
Alex.
thing on a kind of a funny, good note. Chelsea Green, find out how she got her job back at WWE.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So she goes to her phone one day, calls up Triple H, and tells him she wants her job back. and to her surprise, Triple H goes, "Yeah, come on down. You got it."
Imagine doing that in like real life, going, "I want my old job back," and like you've left on bad terms, going, "Yeah, hello, boss. Yeah, I want my job back. Go. We'll see you Monday." That's not going to happen in a million days.
Well, if you leave on good terms, you always leave on good terms, right? You always want to be able to come back.
You try to. It just depends on some like places, because I know that some people is never going to be happy. But you know,
I could see you just like burning the place down.
Shh, don't tell everybody. Jesus.
Cheese and rice.
Cheese and rice. That's right. That's right. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of like that story. It's like you just ring back going, "I want my old job back." Good. We'll see you Monday. It's just as simple. Just
So
simple as that, right?
That concludes our airplane ride. We're back from Saturn. We're back from Venus. We're back on the Earth. And we're going to get into our main event in a second. Main event called Story Time. But first, we want to talk about our sponsor.
Dubby.
Now, Dubby is great because it doesn't have any dyes. It is sugar-free. It doesn't have any maltodextrins or anything like that. So you're a gamer. You're a gamer like me. You're playing some games. You're feeling kind of woozy. Pop some W in your mouth into the chew or the drink, and you get energized and you pass that level in no time. Or let's say you're a podcaster and you're kind of up late like you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
You take a little bit of a W and you're like, "Whoa, let's do some story time."
There we go. Obviously, enter the promo code FIN Wrestling for 10% off your first order. I will be getting some of this as well because I want to try the product out because it's.
Well, that's just your first order. Every time you'll get 10% off if you enter the code FIN Wrestling.
Oh, so it's not just a one-off?
Yeah, every time you order, you can put in code FIN Wrestling.
Of course, so that's www.w.gg. Enter the promo code FIN Wrestling for 10% off all your orders.
That's right. And of course, we have our beautiful story time intro. Let's hit it.
Let's get your controller. You look like you're enjoying that game, then.
I love Ghouls and Ghosts. It's such a fun game.
Of course. So the main event we said this week is, obviously we've found some stories on the line which we thought would be unique. They thought they'd be freaky, and they thought we've said, you know what, we're going to talk about them. So
the title of our story time again.
It is called Tales from the Freaky Shit Files.
I don't know why hearing you say it is funnier, but it is.
It's because is it the British accent?
It must be. The stories from the freaky shit files.
Oh dear. So I've got two stories, and then I do believe you've got two stories as well.
Yeah, so we're gonna alternate here. As always, I go first. We did a coin flip backstage. I use my trick coin, and it always makes me win.
Damn interns.
So we'll get right into it here. Let me just take a look at my notes. So, first story comes from Blue Ridge, North Carolina.
Oh.
Asheville, North Carolina. And this is in the Smoky Mountains. And John and his friend Dennis. There's not really much to do in Asheville, North Carolina, especially at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small town. And so they would drive up through the mountains, and they would go to the what they call an overlook, where you can kind of just see everything. You park your car there, you just see everything. You just enjoy yourself. You bring some beers, you bring your guitar, whatever, and you just hang out there at nighttime. And so they would tend to go there around 12 o'clock and spend a couple hours there drinking beers, hanging out, just having a good time. And then they would head back around 2, 3 o'clock. So on one such occasion, they were driving along, and as they were going, they noticed there was this, this is around 12, 1 o'clock. They noticed there was this pickup on the side of the road. They thought it was odd. And then they saw this guy coming out of the woods with a shovel. And they thought it was really odd. And they thought it was weird. And they noticed it. And they just kept driving. But they discussed it. They thought, how weird is this that this guy's out in the woods at this time of night with a shovel? So they go, they have a few beers, they have a few laughs, and they meet with some other guys there. And it's around 3 o'clock in the morning now. They're heading back. And as they're driving along, they like, well, I wonder if that guy is still there.
Right.
And they're getting close to him, and they find out that he's not there. But as they're driving, the light on just above them in the car, the inside, the Cheerio light, starts flashing.
What?
And they're kind of startled, and they get going, and they're like, yeah, that was weird. They just kind of laugh it off, thinking it's a coincidence. So they're going along, and he drops them off at home. And as he's going along, he's driving along that area again, and again his lights start flashing.
Is it in that like specific area where?
Yes, as he's going home.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing really happens for a few weeks. And Dennis and him, they're best friends. John and Dennis, they're inseparable. And so they're going up to the Outlook at nighttime. They're gonna have a good time with their guitars and some beer. And as they're going along, he drops off. They have a good time. They're playing and whatever. And he drops off his friend again. Mm-hmm. And as he's going by that place where the pickup was, his engine dies.
Just cuts out.
The power on his car just dies. Like the electricity, the engine, everything.
Right.
And so he kind of gets out, looks around, he looks at his phone, and there's no service. So this is 3 a.m.
Oh dear.
And so he opens up the hood, takes a look around. He doesn't know what the heck he's doing. He's hoping there's some magic button that says back on or something like that. And as he's doing this, he's feeling like someone is watching him.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes a step towards the forest, and he hears a growl.
What?
Yeah, he hears a growl, and he gets back in the car. Sorry, just before he gets back in the car magically just starts on its own. Anyways, so he gets back in the car and he takes off, and nothing really happens for another month.
Okay.
You know, they're going up there every week, whenever the day's off. So Dennis and him, they're going up there, and one night Dennis looks out and he says, "Is that a ghost?" And he sees this girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like walking strangely, just kind of walking strangely, and it's kind of like the Ring sort of look. And then she begins crawling towards them, and they're just weirded out. They're like, "What the hell is this?" And they're like, they just got to go, and so they take off, and they don't understand what's going on. And once again, as they drive by this place, the lights begin to flicker.
Definitely
And
something
so,
weird here.
yeah, so he decides that he's going to disconnect these lights.
Okay.
So they figure that this girl is trying to talk to them
Right.
through the lights, because every time they drive by, that the lights begin to flicker on the car. Now, there was a one time after it was disconnected that it still flickered when he drove by.
Okay.
So he's thinking that this is her trying to communicate that this guy, this cowboy type figure in the pickup truck, killed her.
That is weird.
So this is what he's thinking, because every time he drives by it,
Yep.
sees the flicker, he saw the woman ghost. And so they're thinking, yeah, this is what happened. So he decides that he's going to make an anonymous call to the police. He's not going to mention any of the paranormal stuff, but he's going to mention that he saw the pickup late that night, and he had a shovel at 1 a.m, and it was weird, and he just wanted to report it, and he was going to give an anonymous call, and he did. Now, a few weeks pass, and they're up at the Outlook again, and they're playing the guitars, and all of a sudden they hear laughter in the forest. Like a woman and a man just laughing from different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they stop strumming on the guitar, and then the laughter stops. They start strumming again, the laughter starts again.
Like the reacting to like the strumming thing.
Yeah, and they're feeling the electricity in the air all of a sudden, like the hair on the arms, just like there's static electricity in the air. And they're like, you know what? I think it's time to go home.
Yeah. On that note, see ya.
Yeah, so they're heading back, and unfortunately, Dennis tells John, "I have a problem." And John goes, "What's the problem?" He's like, "I gotta take a piss." And so, how do you know it? They pull in to where the pickup truck was.
Bit convenient.
Yeah. He's pissing he's pissing, and John's feeling weird about it. He's like, why am I doing? Why did we pick here? He's like, this was dumb, and he gets out. He's like, all right, hurry up, John, or hurry up, Dennis, and all of a sudden we hear the growling again, and he's like, okay, get back in the car, Dennis, get back in the car. Dennis gets back in the car, and all of a sudden they hear this hoofs. Woof, 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 like coming at them. John looks in his rearview mirror and he sees this creature coming at them. It's got these giant horse legs, and it's got this goat head, but the rest is a man. And it's coming at them, and he's freaked out. He puts on the gas. He gets the hell out of there.
He bolts out of there.
And that is pretty much their account of what happened.
That to me sounds like a dogman.
Well, it's weird. It's weird. So it's like they don't know why their lights were going off. They don't know why the car went out of power. They don't know why there was this growling. And what did the creature, like, what did that man and the pickup have to do? Was it all a ruse? Everything just a game that was just being messed with them? Like maybe that whole thing was paranormal. The pickup guy never killed anyone. It was just a paranormal event.
Yeah, that is definitely a weird one. Just that specific area, do you know what I mean, where the lights are obviously going funny. And then of all places to pull up to take a pee, that exact spot.
Well, when nature calls, right? You're like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Exactly. Nature calls, you gotta go. So, and what's that story called? We've got a name for that one?
They just call it Blue Ridge.
Blue Ridge. I will definitely check that one out. So I kind of like that story. Do you know what I mean? It's all really weird. It's all creepy, and then it's just brilliant. Actually, good job. I enjoyed
and
that.
That's Smoky Mountains. There's got to be some weird stuff going up in the Smoky Mountains.
Of course. So I'll move on, obviously, to my story now. So I've got a question for you before I obviously speak about mine. Do you know the area of Canada? Obviously, I presume you do.
I know Canada. I'm from Canada.
More specifically, Nevada?
Alberta.
Nevada? Alberta. Alberta, Canada. Familiar?
Yes, that's where in Alberta, does it say?
It just says Alberta, Canada.
Okay. So it's Alberta. It's quite large, so who knows?
Now, 2006. Now, apparently you moved from out of the Alberta, Canada.
Yes, around April 2006, I left Alberta and came back to Vancouver.
And it seems you might have dodged a bullet here, Canada's, right? So
why?
Because I'm going to talk about the story of this lady right here, which is, of course...
she looks so nice. He does not.
Well, this is the story of Jasmine Richardson, who killed her family with a quote-unquote werewolf boyfriend, but now she's obviously free.
Oh,
so,
no.
This is an interesting story. So, in 2006, in Medicine Hat, Canada, everyone in Jasmine Richardson's family was killed except her. But her life wasn't miraculously spared, nor was she heartbroken. That's because the deaths of the Richardson family were the result of the murder of the hands of the 12-year-old Jasmine and her 23-year-old boyfriend, Jeremy Steinke.
Oh, she's only 12 years old.
At the time. So, yeah, just think that through. I'll let you digest that. So, growing up, Jasmine was obviously a pretty nice girl. Do you know what I mean? She went to school. She was really close with her parents, and she was very, very protective of her brother. Now, as kids get old, kind of right, as you know, they start to wander off. Now, unfortunately, Jasmine decided to, quote, get into the wrong crowd. Okay, so this crowd was known as the Molgoths. Now, for people listening, what that basically is like people who wear dark clothing, stuff like that.
Are they like ritualistic? Are they practicing witch spells and stuff like that?
It just says that they like wear dark clothing. There's not much information, but I presume it's some sort of religions type stuff. Now, During this time, obviously, Jasmine decides to come in a relationship with Jeremy Steinke, who was a lot older than her. I think he was 23 at the time.
But she's 12 years old. Oh, man.
There you go. So
he's already a sick puppy.
there you go. So, but apparently, the thing is with Jeremy Steinke, he didn't have the best upbringing. His mother was obviously alcoholic. His father was abusive. So, I want to say the words, he was kind of like disturbed in a sense. I think that's probably the best way I could do it. Now, Jasmine's parents obviously decided, look, we don't want you hanging around with a 23-year-old. Let's be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I would. But unfortunately, as Jasmine was obviously going through the stages of puberty, as we call it, she became very, very aggressive and stuff like that. She totally rebelled against her parents and stuff like that. And
obviously she's being influenced by this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So the parents didn't want to be very, very strict, but they felt like they had no choice. Now, the only way these obviously could communicate without her parents knowing was on a site called, when I've got it in a second, vampirefreaks.com.
Oh.
So you can take a guess what that's actually about. Obviously, Vampire Freaks, it's more really creepy stuff.
Yeah, like drinking actual blood and stuff.
Yeah, and obviously there was communicating through that. There was so much great stuff like that. But during this time, Jasmine decided to change her appearance. So instead of having like the typical stuff like that, she began to like black makeup, black hair, which at grade decided, to take a downturn as well. Which, do you know what I mean? Obviously, the parents wasn't really happy, but let me just find where the next thing was because I've got it here somewhere. Now, the more her parents decided to say, look, I don't want you seeing this guy, the more angry she became, which then things decided to take a big, big turn for the worst. As obviously they were communicating on Vampire Freaks, they decided to come up with the best cunning plan ever. The quote unquote is the only way these could be together is by having the parents, let's say, disappear. Is that correct terminology? You get what I'm saying with this?
Yeah.
So they obviously devised like a cunning plan, saying, look, we need to get creative and stuff like that. There's obviously reports, obviously, messages between them both. Now, I've got the... Let me just find where I can get you. Now, it says, obviously, I've got it here with me. It's one of the messages says, it begins with me killing them and ends with me living with you. That's one, obviously, the messages she wrote, which was really, really weird, I will be honest. Now, apparently, Jasmine reportedly told her friends, obviously, the exact plan that she wanted to kill her parents, but friends being typical friends, they didn't believe her. They thought, do you know what, this is absolute bull, let's be honest, yeah? Now, the night before the murders, the Joe watched a famous film called Natural Born Killers. Do you know the movie?
Yes, it's pretty harsh.
Yes, it is. Then on April 23rd, 2006, at her parents' home on a quiet residential street, Jasmine Richardson and her boyfriend followed through with their quote-unquote massacre. So Jeremy obviously broke through the window at the bottom. He obviously assaulted her father, obviously her mother. And the sickest part for me is, and this is what really makes me cringe every single time. Do you remember when I obviously said that she was very, very close with her brother?
Yeah.
Well, she obviously was the one who did basically, let's kill him, basically. So obviously that would obviously all that then. The bodies only got found when obviously a younger kid went to play with obviously a younger brother. Now, as police broke in, they originally thought, okay, we're dealing with like a girl who's missing. But what they didn't realize is that they wasn't looking for a kidnapping. They're looking for obviously a murder victim, obviously a culprit, basically.
Yeah.
Now, luckily they was obviously caught. Now they were caught in back of his truck, which obviously they tried to bail, but it just didn't work. And the funny thing is once they got caught, things started to change. Now, because of the law in Canada, this is what obviously caused a lot of controversy. Because of obviously all these massacres, Jeremy got 25 to life, obviously being
Okay.
over 23. But Jasmine only got 7 years.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, unless there's more to the story.
No, the only thing I've got to say about this is there such thing as the wrong crowd?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this 23-year-old had no business even talking to this 12-year-old girl.
Correct.
So, like, he was influenced her in a very, very negative way.
Yep.
Her everything isn't formed in her brain yet.
Mm-hmm.
She's not there. So, like, it's very sad that he was able to corrupt her.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the one thing that sticks with me. But according to some people, she was obviously the mastermind behind it. But I just hate the fact that because she was only young, she was obviously only got 7 years. Now, as of 23 now, I do believe she's obviously a free woman.
Yeah, I'm like, she's 23 years old and haunted by these things that she was part of.
Definitely. And when I read this story, it just makes me think is this all started from going into the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
And then obviously this is the issue you've got then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, as I said there, that's obviously the youngest person who's obviously been trialed, obviously in Canada. It's Jasmine Richardson. There's obviously documentaries on it as well, and it's one of the weirdest stories I've ever seen.
I like that you did a true crime sort of thing, even though he's like into vampire shit and all that stuff. But it's more true crime.
Definitely, I loved all the true crime stuff. So, yeah, that's my story. Have you got a second one?
Yes, I do. Now, Alex lives in Modesto, California, and it's all farmland. It's on the Pacific Coast here, and Modesto is a smaller city compared to like San Francisco and stuff like that. So him and his friend Ryan decide that there's this abandoned house quite close to them. And they're always kind of wondering about it, like what's going on? Like why is no one buying this house? Like it's for sale, but no one wants to buy it. And they're like, you know what? Let's come here tonight at midnight and let's go inside and have a look around.
Okay.
Maybe we'll find some treasures. Let's see what's in there. And so Ryan and Alex, they get there, they get their flashlights, and they find that the back door is open, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like you think everything would be locked. So they're just about to go in, and Alex notices out of the corner of his eye what looks like a shadow figure come out of the bushes.
Okay.
So he puts his flashlight out there. He's looking around and doesn't see anything. He's thinking maybe it was a cat. Maybe I'm just scared because it's nighttime. But he also feels this feeling of dread before he goes into the building. Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to talk about that later, but you got to listen to those feelings.
Yep, absolutely.
When you feel something like maybe you shouldn't do something, listen. So they go inside and they're looking around and they notice a lot of tools are on the ground. And Ryan sees a drill and he's like, oh, this is cool. Like so he starts messing around with this drill while Alex starts exploring the rest of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going room to room, checking things out. And he gets back into the kitchen after he's checking things out. And he notices that there's this shield that's right above the doorway in the kitchen.
Okay.
And it has some phrase in Latin. Do you want to show that picture? So I can't speak Latin, but you can see it. Something exorcismus. I can't read that. Anyways,
Not a
well,
clue.
but luckily I have a translation. Show the next picture.
Boop.
We cast you out, every unclean spirit.
Wow.
So this is above a doorway in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's just that last thing, unclean spirit. It's like I just think like demonic straight away.
Yeah. So he puts the shield on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian's working on the drill, and it's like, what are you doing there? He's like, oh, I'm just trying to get this thing going. And all of a sudden, there's this loud sound that comes from one of the bedrooms. And it's like a scraping noise, like a rock scraping against metal.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to investigate it. They go to the door. They're about to open it. When they look down, there is the shield on the ground right in front of that door.
What the hell?
So I think the sound they heard was the shield moving on its own to that door. They didn't know because it's dark. There's no lights on. They got flashlights.
Mm-hmm.
So this shield moved along on its own. So they go in the room and there's nothing there. And they're like, okay. And now, as they're looking around, they start feeling like maybe there's some homeless guy that's around. He's messing with them as he's squatting there. And then they hear a banging from another room. And it's banging really loud. And as they're walking towards the room, as it's banging, they see the shield again.
It's like the shield's following them.
And now the shield is embedded in the wall.
What the hell?
Yeah, like someone threw it against the wall.
So
And
it's like
it stabbed the wall.
so it's like the shield's like just literally following them.
Or someone's moving the shield and doing stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
So they go in the room where the noise is coming from. Again, they're looking around. Nothing is there. And they're starting to think, I don't think this is homeless people. At first, they're happy there's no homeless people here because they don't want to get in some fight with some older homeless guy. But then they're starting to think maybe this is something else. They go back to the kitchen, and the door from the living room to the kitchen starts rattling, like it's shaking. And it's locked, but it's shaking. So
It's
he
like-
gets. So
it's like-
go ahead.
So it's like somebody's trying to get in.
Yeah, but the living room is like it's not closed off. It's like you can get around if you go around the other way, but it's just weird. And so what's his name? Ryan gets out his pocket knife that his grandfather gave him, and he kind of wedges it in there and opens up the door. So again, they're walking around the living room with their flashlights, and Ryan says, "You know what? I think that this place is haunted. I think there's a ghost." And Alex says, "Yeah, I think you're right. I think we should just get out of here."
Yeah,
So,
good call.
So Alex starts to leave, and Ryan's following him. But as Ryan hits the doorway, something pulls him back into the room. He's like holding the doorway, trying to pull himself out, and he's screaming bloody murder. He's freaked right out. Luckily, Alex pulls him out of the doorway, shuts the door, and they're getting ready to leave. And as they're about to leave, Ryan notices that his pocket knife fell out.
Oh no.
Now, this is the pocket knife his grandfather gave him, and it's a very cherished thing. So he's like, hey, I got to go back to get my knife. And Alex says, I'm there with you. I got your back. And so as they're going back, another room just starts rattling. And they're just like, they're trying not to pay any attention to it. And they notice that the knife, where the room is rattling, the knife has stabbed the door. And it's wedged right on the door. And they had to use some real strength to pull it out.
What the hell?
And they get the hell out of there. And they're on the front lawn. And Ryan goes, I'm starting to feel some pain, like on my back. There's something about my back. So he takes off his shirt and he asks Alex, like, what's going on with my back? And there was 3 scratch marks going from his shoulder, his top right shoulder, right down to his bottom hip on the left side.
Just like that, yeah.
Yeah. And they were quite deep. And that is the end of that story.
Wow, I mean, that thing with the shield is absolutely creepy. It's like you should have said there's somebody moving it, or is it?
Well, I think they made a mistake by taking it down.
Yeah, I think that's.
I think it was prayed over and put there, and the spirit was kind of in check. And when you took it down, it kind of maybe broke something.
Like a cursor type thing?
Yeah, it had been binded, but when you took that down, you stopped the binding.
Yeah, that's probably a fair thing. I think you've summed that up pretty well, to be honest.
So someone had made that shield, put that there, and prayed over it, and the spirit wasn't able to do anything. But now that the shield was down, he was free to run amok.
It's like a seal type thing. Like you've opened some up.
Yeah.
That is, wow. I've no words on that. That's just creepy as hell.
Yeah, it's quite scary.
Yeah, that is. Okay, so I've got one more story left. It's kind of a short one, so we're not going to drag this one out. So this is called The Corpse of Anna Fritz. And we've got a nice little image to show you there. So that's Anna Fritz, by the way.
And she's dead?
Yeah, she is. Oh, so we thought. Have a listen. So this guy is obviously named Paul, and he obviously works at the mortuary. Now, unfortunately, Paul wasn't your typical guy. He liked to get off on looking at dead women. Do you know, stuff like that?
Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah, this is a pretty messed up story, and it's a really weird ending. Now, obviously, as he was obviously doing what he needed to do, obviously, checking for Paul, like cleaning up and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, one person was brought in, obviously, to see him. I mean, it was, of course, Anna Fritz. Now, at the time, Anna was obviously a big superstar. She was an actress. She was very well known. Now, unfortunately, Paul decided to message one of his friends with an image, obviously, of this dead person. Now, unfortunately, these 2 guys decided to show up. So now we've got Paul and 2 of his friends now in the same room with Anna Fritz. Now,
so you got the 2 guys that are into this gross shit?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm just going to warn you, this is probably a really gross one, and I'm going to try and keep it as PG as I can. Now, unfortunately, one of Paul's friends decided to... He mentioned, obviously, doing... And I hate saying the word, but if we say having his way, you'll know what I mean.
Yeah.
I want to try and keep it as PG as I can.
That's fine, just...
Yeah, we're being professional, right?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, as Paul and one of his friends went into the back room, the other friend decided to have his way. Now, as he come back in, he was like, oh, chelpy, do you know what I mean? I've just done this, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And for some bizarre reason, Paul decided to do the exact same thing. However, as Paul was having his way, now the one thing he noticed was her eyes. As he was getting really into it, her eyes were obviously closed. But once he opened his eyes, her eyes were open.
Wow.
What? So it turns out that as obviously he was doing what he was doing, she had awoken. Yeah, I'll let that one sink in a little second.
I want to hear what happens next.
Now, obviously, surprised, startled. He obviously it was taken back. It's like, holy crap, what the hell? Now, she was alert, but unfortunately, she didn't have any movement. So she was alert, but she wasn't. She was aware of surroundings, but she couldn't move. Now, these three guys obviously had two options, unfortunately. Now, one of them, the option is basically call people saying she's still alive and face the consequences. Do you know what I mean, for what they've done? Or, which the other thing was, decide to kill her. Now, two of these, Paul and one of the guys, decided, said, no, we want to, face the other consequences of what we've actually done. Do you know what I mean? We're going to do this. But unfortunately, the other guy wanted to obviously kill her, which led to a big scuffle, between all three of them. And now, unfortunately, in the melee, one of Paul's friends sadly died, obviously from internal injuries.
So someone hit him with a gun or a weapon or something?
Yeah, so obviously the fights broke out between all three of them, and then one of them ended up getting really badly injured and basically died from his wounds. Now, Paul obviously did have a... What's going on, Mr. Smith? Thank you for stopping by. A bit late live, but Now, obviously, now the two guys have now got the face of, one, there's a dead guy there, and two, there's obviously a woman there laid on the thing. Now, obviously, as the guy went out, obviously, the room, obviously, to make a phone call and stuff like that, Paul at the moment had a sudden change of heart. He was like, look, I don't want to kill her. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to do anything like this. Now, he basically said to her, look, just play dead. Do you know what I mean? You'll be absolutely fine. Just play dead, right? And obviously put the towel, obviously, over her head. Do you know, be respectful?
Yeah.
And obviously he exited to the room, obviously with Paul, his friend. Now, his friend wants to go back in to get like something, but Paul tried his hardest, to insist. Now, unfortunately, it didn't work. He went back into the room. As he walked back into the room, coming out, obviously, one of the other rooms was obviously Anna Fritz, alive, alert, and absolutely, just basically like just casually, acting normal, which was really weird. So again, a fight decided to break out between these two. But unfortunately, for some bizarre reason, Anna took it upon herself to, one, stab the guy, his friend, in the throat. Now, she's basically like, it's survival in a sense. You know what I mean? This is the first thing I thought of. Now, yeah, exactly. And then, so now Paul's obviously face to face with a woman, which he's now assaulted. I mean, that's probably the best word I can describe it with.
Yeah.
And for some bizarre reason, again, instincts has just took over from Anna, and she's literally she just stabbed him in the chest, literally. So the story ends, because nobody knows what happens after this, is Anna's just like stood there with a knife in her hand and two dead bodies.
And she didn't get charged or anything?
That's the thing. Nobody knows exactly what happened after this.
I'm sure somebody knows. We don't know.
No. Yeah, so this is a kind of interesting one. Is it self-defense?
Well, they were talking about killing her.
There you go. So
like, she doesn't know if they're going to change their mind.
But yeah, I mean, that's the corpse of Anna Fritz. It's kind of an interesting one.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Another true crime.
Yeah, I must have been a big fan of true crime stuff. So, but I think next time we do this,
but it's definitely scary as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's one of the creepiest ones. I mean, the Jasmine Richards story. Obviously, I know that one. Obviously, a while. I've obviously watched the documentary, so I didn't really need to do much notes on that one. But I mean, your two stories are just as weird.
Yeah, like I've been watching a show called These Woods Are Haunted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really great show. I got those from there. I encourage you, if you got Discovery Plus, take a look at These Woods Are Haunted. They got some really good stories on there.
Yeah, so we've kind of gone really creepy today, so I don't even know if I can do knowledge is power.
Oh, we can. We can.
Let's do this then. Knowledge is power. So, as you mentioned in the intro, is I've got to try and basically take what kids can learn from your shows or stories, and then you've got to try and get something from mine.
Okay, I'm not going to touch the Anna Fritz one. So, children, come close. Now, you are 12 years old. You're starting to go through puberty, and you meet this weird 21-year-old dude. Whatever you do, stay away from him. He is masked in the head. And if your parents say to stay away from someone like that, they know better. Trust me, it'll save you in the long run.
There you go, and that's kind of the drive. Knowledge is power. So mine's kind of going off your second story. So kids, you like to explore. Do you know what I mean? Every kid does. You can go through woods, you can go through buildings. If you go through a building, you go through a door, and you see a shield, it doesn't matter if it's old, new, right, rusty, metal, or what. Whatever you do, do not take it down.
Especially if it's got some Latin writing on it.
Exactly. If it's got any special writing on it or it looks out of the ordinary, do not take it down because it may follow you and it may end up like in the wall. And that is my knowledge is power.
That's our.
When we're doing that segment there, I'm thinking that's very educational.
Yeah, it is. Listen to your parents and don't remove blessed items to bind people.
There you go. So obviously what we've got up for the rest of the week, obviously tomorrow, obviously it is Friday, obviously we've not got on. Saturday we're doing our any questions thing, so if anybody's got any questions for myself or Mr. Isaacs, send them in. It doesn't matter how obscure, we've already got so many which I can't wait to answer for. And what we got Sunday?
Sunday we have our Double or Nothing prediction show. We're going to give you the smart money picks. You're gonna make some money based on what we tell you. So if you're gonna blow a wad in Vegas, you want to hear what we have to say first. Like, I know Liam has some inside tracks on who's going to win these matches.
Of course I do. I may spill the beans or I may not, because me and you can have a bet, right?
Yes, we have a bet going. I have one with JB, $100 with me and JB. I don't know what you were going to do, but I got 100 buckaroos on that match.
Come the end of Double or Nothing, somebody's just going to be skinned.
Yes, like where'd all my money go? The butterflies just flying out of your wallet.
Yeah, that's I'm looking forward to that one. Obviously, I'll be on there, and is it Dollywood, I believe?
Yes, you, Dollywood, me, and JP are gonna do the Double or Nothing prediction show.
Sweet. So, do you want to tell everybody where? In fact, no, that's my job, actually. Sorry, go ahead. I'm trying to jump the gun here. So, if you want to follow us on any of our socials, you can head to fnwrestling.com. All our social medias are on there. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. We're always everywhere, Canada's right?
Yes, we are.
Of course. And do you want to tell everybody about the Pro Wrestling Tee stores?
And of course, if you want to just find our links, you can look right there in the description down below. Click on them. You can get part of AFW. You can be part of FNWrestling.com. All of our links are everywhere. And so, yeah, if you want to buy a T-shirt like this one here, you can head on over to Pro Wrestling Tees ProWrestlingTees.com/FN And of course, if you want to buy a shirt like Natalia Markovas, you will look just as beautiful as her. I guarantee it.
Does she come with a shirt?
No. And of course, if you like old school wrestling, Adrian Johnson's going to be on Dark Side of the Ring, and you want to have this shirt. I know I'm going to be getting one soon. I love it.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, there's so many shirts there. There's so many designs for absolutely everybody. Do you know what I mean? I can't even like mention how many designs there is because there's just so many.
There is. And of course, I think that concludes our show today.
It does. So, as we always say, the last thing we always do on the show, any final words from Canada Dry?
Will you please try your best to just keep fighting?
So, yeah, I've got a quick question here. Have you really been talking to a Mrs. Enlightened One?
There's no misses. I go on the internet. I look at some stuff that is not silly, you know.
Do you want to tell people what you
Sometimes that
searched?
affects my dream life.
Okay. Do you want to tell people what you've been searching, or is that secret?
I'm